Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Paying to Power. I'm your host, Jill Ripley, and today's conversation feels especially nourishing and honestly deeply aligned with the work I love to explore here. Today, I'm joined by Swami Nityananda, a spiritual teacher, meditation guide, and author who's dedicated her life to helping humans live with greater joy, freedom, and self awareness. Swami Nityananda is the spiritual teacher of awake yoga meditation, and her work has reached audiences around the world, from intimate meditation spaces to international stages. She's been featured on NPR and Radio Ireland, and her work has been supported by the Fulbright Program, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. But what I personally love most about her teaching is how human they are. She teaches non-dual awareness and yogic wisdom in a way that feels accessible, relatable, and grounded in real life. Not as something reserved for monks or mystics, but as something we can live and breathe right here, right now in our relationships, our challenges, and everyday moments. Her meditations are known for helping people to feel both calm and exuberant, rooted and alive. And her talks are filled with wisdom, humor, and deep compassion. Swami is also the author of Awake, the Yoga of Pure Awareness. And I'm truly delighted to welcome her into this space today. Swami, thank you so much for being here.
Jill, thank you for such a kind introduction. That was just filled with warmth and generosity. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm just so happy to have you here. I think that people are going to get so much out of today's conversation. And I wanted to know when people hear the words awakening or enlightenment, they often imagine something far away or reserved for monks on mountaintops. How do you describe awakening in a way that feels reachable for everyday humans living busy, messy lives?
So, first of all, just thank you for such a great question. And my understanding is actually that enlightenment is becoming aware of the light that is already with us. And so, what that means is that enlightenment applies to every human on the planet because the light is within every human on the planet. And so, it's very, very practical. It is a busy parent being aware of the light within them when the 6-year-old is nonstop talking. It is grandparents, it is if you're taking care of an elder, whatever your family situation is, it is simply coming from the light within you. And when you come from the light within you, what happens is you are aware of the light within the other person and you're able to respond with, I would call it like larger than human patience. Like if you think about the way parents are able to just continue extending kindness to their kids, even if their kids are melting down. Or I heard a mom the other day talk about her son totaled someone's car, borrowed someone's car, and then totaled it. And her son is thankfully okay. But these are the real life situations that we get to navigate. And so it's being in contact with the light within you, which helps you see clearly the reality in time and space so that you're responding with wisdom, you're responding with skill, you're responding from a place of strength within you. And you are coming from highest good, which helps other people come from highest good. And this is true. I mean, I was giving just a lot of family examples, but it's true in workplace examples as well. It's true in relationships. It's true in how we encounter ourselves and how kind we are to ourselves or not kind we are to ourselves.
I totally understand that explanation. Can you speak to the person who is not in that space as of yet? And the reason I ask this is i- in the past, when my kids were growing up, I didn't have that kind of patience, that kind of inner knowing of the true love and the compassion within me. How do you get people to understand how to move out of that impatient space and into something that's more unconditional love as we all want to be?
Fair. So, first of all, I would just say, great question. And thank you for your courage and your honesty. And that's one of the things that allows you to move forward. And so, if this is for any human on the planet, if I have the courage to look at myself and to say with honesty, okay, I'm not coming from my best self when I'm dealing with my young person when they're melting down. Or it might be, I heard someone talking about not getting a lot of sleep because she's taking care of her mom at this time. And so then, honestly, she said one of the things she does is she sings, because she sings to her mom because she finds it impossible to stay angry and sing at the same time. And so her mom is actually in a case where her mom has what I guess you would call it like dementia. She's not in contact with reality. And so her mom will say things like, I'm on the floor, when she's actually in her bed. And instead of getting impatient, she will sing to her mom. And she said she just finds like she cannot be angry. She cannot be frustrated if she's singing. And so that's just a really practical example. But another tool, if you are in a tense, it could be like a tense business meeting, or it could be like a family conversation, or it could just be that you're feeling frustrated or impatient with yourself. Breathing into your heart. And I know that sounds impossibly simple, but try it. Put it to the test. And so I would say, like right now, for the listener, if it's safe for you to breathe into your heart, just breathe into your heart. And what you'll find is you reconnect with, there's an aspect of each of us that is deeper than the noise, that is deeper than the impatience, that is deeper than like that person who was woken up in the middle of the night by her mom saying, I'm on the floor, and yet her mom was in the bed. And so there's like a human aspect of ourselves that could respond with frustration, or with like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And it's not even
Right.
true. Like what you're telling me is not even true. But if you just notice, okay, I'm feeling that way in this moment, I'm going to breathe into my heart. What happens is you will actually reconnect with, it feels better to come from peace within ourselves than from frustration within ourselves. And we're still going to be navigating the same human situation. So I want to be real about that. Like, I want to be honest about that. The 6-year-old is likely to keep talking. If your 6-year-old is learning and is constantly talking, your mom might still wake you up in the middle of the night and might say, I'm on the floor, even if she's in the bed. But if you are in contact with, okay, I have the ability to simply breathe into my heart and to reconnect with spaciousness and peace within my heart, it actually feels better. I mean, I know this sounds really strange, but it's almost like a selfish self-interest to breathe into my heart, because I'm going to feel so much better if I breathe into my heart in those very real, very honest, relatable human moments that every human has. And I want to say that about those situations. There's nothing wrong with you. So you're human. And whatever feelings you have, whatever thoughts you have, whatever patterns you have, you are human, and the light is with you. And so as soon as you have the awareness of both, you can turn to the light, and the light will help you to self-transform. Whatever the human thoughts are, whatever the human behavior is, whatever the human patterns are. And I would say, you kind of mentioned this implicitly, it happens when we're ready. It happens at
Correct.
the right time. And I would actually say life is one of our greatest teachers. And so life will teach us. And I think life teaches us sometimes in subtle ways. And then sometimes, if we're not responding to the subtle teachings, we get very large lessons.
Oh, well,
And
that's true. That's true. Life keeps hitting you over the head until you get it, because it'll give you a tap and then a little harder tap. And then, hey, I'm going to hit you with a hammer now because you're not listening. I find that now that I've grown, I'm constantly trying to improve my outlook on things and see where I can be more patient, more kind, more compassionate, more loving. And I find now that when I encounter situations that in the past would have sent me into a tizzy, a tailspin, or a screaming fit, now I'm much more able to take some deep breaths, and I still get irritated sometimes, but more often I'm able to take that breath, recognize the situation for what it is. It's just a situation that needs some attention and breathe. And that makes it much easier to work through that situation if you're coming from a calm, peaceful space.
I love what you said. And one of the things that was coming to me when you were talking was almost like our emotions are indicators. And so I know some cars have navigation systems and they'll kind of like just beep at you if you start to stray out of your lane. So you could just think of your emotions. And I'm not speaking about you specifically, but for every human, I can think about my emotions as it's an indicator of something. Like you said, it's something to respond to. It's something,
Right.
there's something here, it's a signal. And so if you look at it that way, then it's more neutral. It's like, okay, this is giving me information, and what would be the highest response in this moment? And I agree with you as well. I think we almost build, we take steps up the staircase and we start to build a foundation. So you have a different set point now, it sounds like. And that's awesome
Exactly.
to notice. And so for every listener, I would just invite you to give yourself credit for how far you've come because we all go through so many life challenges. And then sometimes I think we don't often pause enough to say, I am meeting this situation with courage. I am doing my best. I am going to come from a place of self compassion. And then what happens is, as I come from a place of self compassion, then I expand my ability to share compassion with others. And then generally, what happens is there starts to be, I'll call it almost like a virtuous circle, so that then compassion comes back to me, not always from the same person I extend compassion to, but just generally, I will tend to find myself experiencing more compassion as I allow more compassion to share through me. And the same thing with I will allow myself to share kindness, and then generally, more kindness will share back with me. And I can tell you specific examples. I used to be a university professor, and I gave an assignment to first year students. And I said, for this assignment today, say only what is kind, useful, and true. All three. Like, if it's not all three, don't say it. And so one of the students said he noticed a single day that kindness was coming back to him. And he was like, I am going to keep doing this. And it didn't take very long. And for some of the students, they said, it took me a little while because I had to think about, okay, do I need to say that? If it's not kind, if it's not useful, if it's not true, then I'll just let it go for right now. But they said, like in the course of a single day, they noticed differences in the quality of relationship that they were having. Like one of them was having a conversation with his mom, one of them was having a conversation with his girlfriend, and was just noticing, I'm seeing a difference already in the responses that are coming back to me.
It's really cool. In my heart of hearts, I personally believe that the world is mostly good. I believe that good things always come to me. I've I've had a lot of really, really hard things happen in my life, but I feel like there has always been someone there to help me through it. Even when I struggled with my feelings and my tendencies, I used to be very impatient. And I think that I've always had people around that gave me grace. And now I try to be more like that. So I definitely have grown. One of the biggest things for me was giving up alcohol because I think that took away a lot of my patience and how I would have shown up in the world otherwise. But I think that just noticing that the world is mostly good brings more good to you.
I agree so much that what we focus on can, so I can just say, for myself, I have awareness. What I focus on will affect how my feelings are. So, what my thoughts are affect how my feelings are. And then that affects how my experiences are. And I'm talking about even, well, I can give you another really specific example. Someone before they meditated. So I teach meditation, and they were giving me an example of the difference of them before they meditated and then after they meditated. And this person said they used to go to the grocery store and they used to like be in a bad mood, and they used to, their mind, they described their mind as being kind of like a dark swamp in terms of just being filled with negativity. And they said that was reflected back to them at the grocery store. And then they started meditating. They started feeling more peaceful, more kind from within themselves. They're going to the same grocery store. And now, when they go to the grocery store, they have pleasant interactions with everyone. People generally smile at them, they smile at people. These are strangers. And it's the same grocery store, and it's the same
Right.
person.
It's
But
how you
they
show up in the
experienced,
world. It's how you
yeah.
show up in the world, how the world reflects back at you.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so beautiful because then it's so healing and it's so uplifting and it's so liberating for us. It
It
empowers
really is.
us. Yeah.
Was there a time in your life when things didn't feel joyful or free? And how did that become part of your teaching rather than something you had to transcend?
Oh, good question. I mean, I would actually say that I think there's not a human on the planet who escapes from heartbreak. And so I think that the heartbreak that each of us experience, it's unique to each of us. So, for example, I was 11 when my dad left the body. He passed away when I was 11. And so that's an example of that it's a tragedy, right? From the perspective of your 11-year-old self. It's cataclysmic, it's heartbreaking. And then I think a lot of it is based on how do you respond to that experience. And so my mom was emotionally honest about it, and she was honest about her grief, which I think let me be honest about my grief. And then it means that grief is something that you move through. And so it's not a place that you stay stuck in. And I'm not being judgmental. So if anyone is having a hard time moving forward through grief, full love and support, respect, and sympathy, you are magnificent wherever you are in relation to grief. From my experience, if I allow myself to feel the grief, it moves through me the way that a storm moves through a geographical area. And if I don't fight it, I just allow it to move through me. What happens is then, like after a storm, very often there's like a freshness in the air. It's almost like the grief has been some sort of cleansing or something. And again, I'm not saying seek out grief. Please don't. Life will give you plenty of heartbreak. That's my experience. But that if you meet grief with an open heart and you are emotionally honest about it, what happens is I think it helps me love life even more. And it helps me be even more honest and emotionally present. And I'm trying to think of the effects that it's had on me personally. Like, I would say I express kindness to everybody. I don't wait to tell anybody what I have to tell them. And that's one of the teachings I would say I walked away from with my dad leaving the body so young. He was only, I think, 35. Is that every moment here is vitally precious. And please, please, please take full advantage of just like relishing and celebrating and loving the magnificence of being here. It is such an incredible gift. So anyway, I'll stop talking for right now, but that's just an example. And I think that's made me a better human, being honest about the emotional experiences that humans have. No one escapes emotional
Yeah.
experiences. And so it's just how do you meet them? And can I meet them with an open heart in a way that helps me come from my highest self? And I think the emotional experiences that we go through, they help us be present and help other humans who then go through those experiences too.
Exactly. Well, I feel like I've had trauma throughout my life. My dad also died when I was 3, and my mom had left the year before. And so I've had a lot of that grief and loss in my life, but I feel like that it has given me the experiences that I've needed to work through to allow me to be able to help others on their journey. And
That
I think that is the ultimate good use of trauma. If you can make meaning from what you've gone through and help someone else, it feels like it's not for nothing.
You have such beauty and purity of heart when you speak about that, and just thank you for that because it's such an example of, I mean, another way to put it, like I'm trying to think of how to say this, but like every human goes through pain, and if you allow yourself to go through it and you're open to pain as a spiritual transformation. And again, I think in the past, some traditions have misunderstood this and said, okay, therefore you need to seek out pain. My take on that is no, please don't. Life will give you
No.
plenty. Life will give you plenty of pain. But if you open to allowing it to give you wisdom, if you open to allowing it to help you open your heart to come from your highest good, and you met your grief with courage in a way that has helped you, and now you're helping people through that. And so for every listener, like I know our own experiences and our trajectories are unique to each of us, but every listener, it's almost like it can be a refining fire spiritually. Again, not that it's always comfortable, it's so not. Like, and so be honest about that too. Sometimes you're walking through extreme discomfort, and the discomfort might be physical, or it might be emotional, it might be mental, it might be spiritual. So just to be honest about that, but know that it is possible to keep moving through it. And it also ends up being, if you approach it in that spirit, in a like a refining fire, and then what comes out on the other side is your pure heart. And I mean, that's what you just demonstrated and what you spoke of with
Thank
such
you.
honesty.
I appreciate that. Can you explain non-dual awareness in a way that will be simple for our listeners to wrap their minds around?
Sure. I mean, I think my take on this is actually that non-dual awareness is natural to each of us. And so I can give you an example. Like, I know someone who's kind of the grandmother of her neighborhood, if that makes sense. Like, just extends unconditional love, caring, cookies, hugs to
Yeah.
anyone in her neighborhood. So that includes her family, but it also includes people who are not her family. And so I would say that she has the ability, like I think you're doing this as well, but she has the ability to be unconditionally kind and just to listen. And if a person needs to cry, she just, they cry. And there's no judgment, there's just an unconditional kindness and a hug if that's what they need, a hug. And at the same time, she is aware of the strength of their heart, the strength that is deeper than the pain that they are feeling. And so I would say she does this naturally. I don't know that she would even use these words. These are my words based on observing her in action. But naturally, she's aware. I would call it like soul level strength or spirit level strength, like whatever word you want to use, or that purity of heart that I was seeing you demonstrate. Every human has this boundless spiritual strength within ourselves. And so I would say she is aware of that, even as she is extending the hug. And to people who are experiencing really challenging circumstances, like their kid received a diagnosis that's likely to, the kid will leave the body, right? Or someone whose spouse just left. And so these are like the heart breaking, heart wrenching moments that she's extending this kindness to them. And at the same time, she's aware of the depth of their soul or the depth of their spirit, the depth of the spiritual strength within them. And I would say the awareness that she has of their inner strength, it's silent. She would never in words say, I see your inner strength, but she is silently helping people connect with that inner strength. And she's just doing it in a way that's very natural to her. And so that is actually what, from my observation, I think every human on the planet, if we're in contact with that purity of heart, that's true to each of us, it's always here within each of us, then that was her example of how she helps people connect from a place of non-dual awareness with whatever they need. I know bus drivers, I know waiters who they uplift everybody who walks onto the bus or everybody who's in that restaurant. And they do it just by being aware of the positivity that is possible for each human, that is always there, independent of how our human moods are or what our human patterns are. Deeper than that, there's this potentiality that is within each heart. And so I see so many humans everywhere that I go: bus drivers, waiters, grandmothers, business people, CEOs, dentists, and attorneys and surgeons. Like everywhere I go, I see these people who are operating on both levels. Like they're just coming in daily life from highest good in a way that helps other humans come from highest good as well. And so
Yeah.
that's not dual awareness. It's natural to each of us. It's already with us.
I have a lot of people in my life that are like that. And I'm going to give a little plug. My podcast coach, her name is Kim Parkinson, and she's absolutely amazing. She has that light. I look forward to our Monday coaching calls. And I don't think I've ever had a coach that I've done coaching a number of times, and I consider myself a lifelong learner. And I don't think I've ever had a coach that I've been so excited to connect with every week. It's KP Creative Media, and she's helped me learn so much about podcasting and how to grow my podcast and my business. But she is just one of those souls that just emanates sunshine. Like I see her come on the video and I'm like, "Oh, there she is." She's just one of those people with that light, and she's amazing. But it's
That's
funny we're talking about this at this time because this morning is I get oftentimes I get downloads either from meditations or just when I'm in a quiet space, not really contemplating or thinking of anything. And this morning, as I'm showering, funny enough, as I'm showering, I'm just feeling the water and I'm feeling everything. And I look over at the shampoo bottle and I'm like, everything is one thing. Everything is one thing. We're all like the pure essence of everything is the universe. It's the essence of everything. And I'm like, that's really cool. I'm like looking at the bottle, looking at the reflection of the bottle on the side of the shower. I'm like, it's all one thing. And I'm that one thing. It was very euphoric and validating and connecting. It felt good.
That is such a beautiful example. I also really love, and the examples I've been giving too, hopefully emphasize this and invite listeners to notice this as well. But from my perspective, I agree with you. And I think it's natural for us to have these awareness moments right in the midst of daily life. And I'm so excited that you had that awareness moment right in the midst of daily life. And I think, like I've heard people who rock climb, they say the same thing, just like being very focused and very present in that moment. The only thing you can think about is, where does my right hand go next? Where does my left hand go
Yeah,
next?
you have to be present in those
Yeah,
moments. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
That's
And
pretty
then you
cool.
just have this awareness of the underlying unity.
So in relationships, especially challenging ones, how does non-dual awareness help us to stay loving without abandoning ourselves?
That's a really good question. So, I mean, like one of the things that my teacher says is, my teacher left the body in 2014, but he was Swami Nityananda, and like you said about your coach, he was sunshine. He was like sunshine in human form. But one of the things that he said is, if you're ever feeling, I don't know what the right way to put it is, but conflicted, or you're feeling like, I'm having a hard time working through whatever I'm working through in this relationship or with this person, one of the things that he said is just silently offer, I am with you in the heart of God. So if you're comfortable with that phrasing, use that. But you also could just say something like, I am with you in oneness. I am with you in underlying unity. I am with you in harmony. And what happens then is, so I would say that reconnects you to the underlying unity and harmony. There are still choices that each human has to make. And so I hear humans making these choices. Like I can give you a very specific example about a person who discerned that for her, there's a family member whom it's best for her to see on Thanksgiving and holidays, but she doesn't need to see him the whole rest of the time. And so for her, that's like a mental and emotional health kind of awareness. And so she just has clarity. She's like, that's enough. It's whole and complete. And one of the things that I noticed when she was saying that was it wasn't coming from a place of reactivity. There was no judgment, there was no anger, there was no upset, there was just clarity and peace that this is all I want and need right now. And so for each person, I would say it's that combination to be fully in contact with the dignity, the light, the divinity within the other, and then to listen until you have clarity and peace to what is highest good. And then you'll have a sense, like, and I think a way that people would put what she did was she established healthy boundaries for her.
Yeah. Yes, you
And
have to honor yourself as well
yeah,
as others.
yeah. And she still fully respects his dignity, his divinity. There's no reactivity, like, there's no anger, there's just clarity and there's just peace. And that's when you know that it's coming from this place of, what's the right way to put it? Honoring the dignity in you and the dignity in the other.
Yeah. Namaste. Right? Namaste. The divine in me honors the divine in
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Your talks are known for humor and warmth. How important is laughter in the spiritual path?
Oh my gosh. Well, so I would actually say, I mean, you seem to have a great sense of humor. And from my perspective, I love laughter. And I
I
would
love
say,
to laugh.
I love it. And I would also say the kind of humor I love, I don't ever laugh at anything or at anyone. I just laugh. And so it's like, it's from joy and it's from wholeness and it's from just opening up to the lightheartedness. And almost any situation, there is the potential for there to be a lightheartedness.
I love
You
to
know,
laugh at myself.
fair, fair.
I think I am one of the funniest things because I'll do something goofy and I'm like, oh my God, I just did that. And it's not shame, it's not indignation, it's just it's funny. I did that stupid thing. It's hysterical. I love to laugh at myself.
I mean, I was actually thinking there, I think there's a spiritual principle behind this because I think laughter is part of joy. I think it's part of upliftment. I think it's part of the fun
Of
of being
course.
here. And I think there are things that are genuinely comic about being here.
Yeah.
And to be able to be open to that, I also think that I'm trying to think of how to say this. I think it's important for adults to be responsible and responsive. And so please keep that, keep being responsible and
Of course.
responsive. But I think sometimes we're so aware of how many things we have to do that we forget to also bring that spirit of play and fun into it. And I think if I bring my spirit of play and fun and laughter and exploration and curiosity into all the many things I have to do, I just have a lot more fun. And everyone else that I'm interacting with has a lot more fun too. And I want to be clear, like, I'm not being frivolous. I'm not being disrespectful of the
No,
context of
not
the
at all.
people, but it's just like, oh my gosh, life is fun. Like, it is
Life
actually
is
fun.
fun. And I'm a very serious person. I take my work seriously. I think I've mentioned too that I'm also a real estate agent. So I take my work very seriously. I'm serious, very serious when I need to be. And I'm stern if I have to be. And I try to do what I need to do when I need to do it. But if I can have fun along the way, I'm going to. And I try to
Agree.
bring humor into my seriousness if at all possible, if it seems right or appropriate.
Agree. And I think I'm saying the same thing that you're saying. One of the ways that I put it for myself is that I think it's important to be sincere always, right? And so to be very honorable and respectful and to always come from integrity and honesty and truth. And that's what I heard you saying. And then at
Yep,
the same time, I also don't want to take myself too seriously. So
exactly. Exactly. Now, if listeners walk away remembering just one thing from this conversation, what would you hope that to be?
honestly, I mean, I think that for each listener, if you can turn within to yourself and greet your own pure heart, greet the light within yourself, you are amazing. And so to allow yourself to remember you are already amazing. I know that from a human perspective, we often have so much awareness of all the self transformation we would like to enjoy. So full speed ahead for that. But already, right now, the light within you is amazing. And there's never been a single moment of your existence that you have been separate from the light. So I know from a human perspective, sometimes it feels really challenging. Sometimes it feels like you're walking through a lot of darkness. The light is still with you. The light is still within you. And that's how you're even aware there has to be something better than this that I'm currently walking through. And so that awareness, that awakeness, that light, it's already with you. And so to turn within and to really celebrate, to reconnect with, to remember, to be empowered by the light that is within you. And there's like a quiet, subtle support and a quiet inner guidance that comes. So just from moment to moment, step by step, like you'll be guided to, it's time to read this book, it's time to listen to this podcast, it's time, you were talking about whatever steps are for you to move forward, they came to you very, very naturally. And so I would say that that's true for everyone on the planet. And so also just enjoy every moment and have so much fun.
How can people stay connected to your work and the teachings from Awake, the yoga of pure awareness?
Sure. So I'm in Baltimore, Maryland geographically, and we do meet in person for meditation. So anyone in the area, you're very welcome to come in person. And the meditation center is called Awake Yoga Meditation. Our website is awakeyogameditation.org. We have donation-based meditations. Everyone's welcome. Longtime meditators are welcome, but also you're brand new, you're welcome. Any background, right? So any tradition, any background, you are welcome. And what happens is we share these teachings, we share meditations. It's really joyful, it's really inspiring, it's really supportive to meditate with other humans live who are meditating at the same time as you. It makes it easier to connect with this kind of current of peace and this current of joy. There's a current of wholeness that is always within each of us. And I heard someone say it's just so much easier if you're in a room of other people and you're meditating together with them, or you're online and you're meditating live with other people. So please check us out at awakeyogameditation.org. And you can also email me at swami@awakeyogameditation.org.
Wonderful. And I definitely will put all this information in the show notes. Swami, I just want to thank you truly for the depth, the gentleness, the laughter, and the wisdom you've shared today. What I love most about this conversation is how grounding it feels. There's nothing here that asks us to become someone else, to fix ourselves, or strive our way into awakening. Instead, you've reminded us that joy, freedom, and awareness are already present, waiting to be remembered. For anyone listening who felt a softening, a sense of calm, or even just a quiet yes in their body during this conversation, trust that. That's the work doing what it does. And if today's conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to explore Swami Nityananda's teachings, meditations, and her book, Awake, the Yoga of Pure Awareness. We'll be sure to include the links in the show notes so you can stay connected. And for now, many blessings.